And now to tonight's big story, as a hero's homecoming was available for the Northwest Ohio veterans that traveled to our nation's capital today, despite the threat of arrest if they set foot on the memorials that were closed during the partial government shutdown. Now, though it was apparent that some were very tired after the long day that took them to Washington, D.C. and to the World War II and Vietnam memorials, it was also obvious that those returning were happy to have seen the monuments, but also glad to be back home.
I have been there years ago, about 50 years ago, but now look what it is. It is something. I felt free, and I've been through it. I know what I did.
God bless them. Well, today's flight was the last one of the year for Honor Flight of Northwest Ohio. And WNWO's Chris Delcamp has been updating us on the trip and whether or not it would happen since we learned about the partial government shutdown and what it would mean in terms of obstacles for those trying to visit the memorials that were built in their honor. But today, WNWO's Chris Delcamp was there when they made it past the barricades.
The Honor Flight of Northwest Ohio arrived here in D.C. on schedule. And other than the fountains not running here at the World War II Memorial, the visit went off without a hitch. The group of more than 70 veterans were greeted at the World War II Memorial by Ohio political leaders, as well as many people who had come just to see what all the fuss was about.
The people that were here when we got here to greet us, couldn't believe it. There must have been hundreds of them.
While no one from the National Park Service was able to comment, they said hello to each and every veteran, thanking them for their service.
One of the gentlemen he knew us from other flights, he came and greeted us, and I shook his hand, and he remembered who I was, and he said he's so glad to have us here. Aside
from barriers being set up in a few spots, the retired service members were given free rein.
It's a lot bigger than I thought it'd be, you know.
Now we have 15 Korean vets. We're going to do the same thing to Korean. We're going to go down there, we're going to get them in so they can see that.
For many, this was the trip of a lifetime, and some thought they would never get the chance.
I wanted to make it, but I never thought I would.
I have never been to Washington, D.C. before. Didn't have the bucks years ago.
More than 75% of veterans from World War II were not alive to see the memorial's completion in 2004, but those still able to make the trip have a good sense of humor when it comes to their seasoned years.
They don't get much older.
Each man and woman I spoke with was in awe of the memorial's impact. They visited their respective state pillars and shared stories with other vets. The veterans credit Honor Flight for making the trip possible.
I hope they realize how happy they've made a lot of us old goats feel.
Now, it's difficult for some of these war veterans to share their feelings, but they still managed to figure out just how to thank the people that made this visit possible.
You just know in your own heart it's fabulous. It's just fantastic. And how do you really say that to someone else so that they understand? It's right in here.
Coming up over the next few days, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some of the lives of these veterans and also introduce you to one Silver Star recipient who didn't get his proper honors until now. Reporting from our nation's capital, Chris Delcamp, WNWO News.